What have you got there? Big block of ice?
Yeah. I've had this for a month and it hasn't melted. See? It's gotten kind of rubbery.
Dehydrated ice?
It's gotten kind of rubbery.
Let's see. Oh, that feels like fun.
Yeah, this
it's tougher than I thought it was going to be.
It's like cutting through a tire. It's a lot tougher than the sim test. It's also lighter. But what I can't figure out is why. The other thing is the sim test.
Hold it up to the light.
Yeah, the sim test has animal byproduct in it. I'm not going to say out of what end of the animal, but this stuff is all synthetic, which means I had nothing to do with it. Isn't that weird? And when you cut it,
fun.
It is. Everybody says, "Why don't you use a guitar wire or something?" You can't. Or piano wire or whatever. It takes an extremely sharp knife to cut this, and look at the edges I'm getting.
You know, in construction we have these hot wire things we cut the foam with.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would work.
It won't, and I'll tell you why. Because as soon as this material hits something hot like that, it cools to the point where it clots everything up.
So your wire would get.
Yeah.
You'd have to melt the wire off every time.
Exactly. So then what I do. This is one that's been shot. What I do before I take the shot on the test.
There's a slug in there?
No,
that's the part.
That's just the track. The slug was on the other half. That's one half of a 16 by 6 by 6 block.
Oh, this is the one that was on the steel plate.
No, that's a different.
Oh, I thought I saw the black in there.
No, this is from something that has yet to be published.
Oh, so I have the inside scoop.
Yeah, inside scoop. But before I shoot it, I'll blast it with the heat gun and it glosses this over. Then you got to let it cool and then you shoot it, and then there's just a huge process that you've got to follow after you shoot it.
But this stuff won't strain out though. The discolored stuff in there, it's basically.
Well, that's a good question. Maybe see it from this angle. And I'll try to keep this as sanitary as possible.
Oh, sorry, I've been putting my finger.
No, it's okay. Try to keep Bigfoot out of it, but really, because you'd be amazed. How do I say this? You'd be amazed at the things that will stick to your body that will get on other things. Stop laughing. But anyway, never mind. So, I mean, look at your fingerprints. So I have to be real careful when I'm handling this.
Is my fingerprint on there?
Well, I mean, it's somebody's fingerprint, but see, now I'd have to get the heat gun and blast that out.
Oh my gosh.
But what I was going to say, yeah, because it has to be clear. So what I was going to say is, after you shoot it, I will cut out that channel, and if I use a soft brush, which means I don't want to leave bristles or anything in there, you try to wipe out that channel and get it clean so you can remelt it and reuse it. But there's always going to be a portion of these clear blocks that has to get pitched. I can't recycle it, and that's one thing that's been kind of.
Unless you wanted to keep a different batch, like you were saying earlier, like have a dark, like a cluttered batch and a clear batch.
Yeah, I mean,
like you could.
That's what the process for this is so much more difficult and time consuming than the sim test.
For example, if you wanted to shoot an arrow, like if you wanted to have a nasty batch, you just like shot arrows through or something.
Yeah, you could do that.
You were doing weird stuff.
You could do that, but for the purpose of making your video for everyone, just keep in mind that there's going to be garbage kind of, stuck in there.
Yeah. And
it just gets relocated when you melt it and pour another block. That's all you're doing. The strainer may or may not catch it. So this has been. I've had this now for a couple of months, and I think I've got it figured out. But the learning curve, and I don't have it written down anywhere. It's really all in my head, all the processes that I have to follow to make this work. And I've kind of been away from it for a few weeks, so I got to get back in here. But yeah, there's a chance that little, it may be an inch wide. I may just have to cut that out and
just take my t-shirt and walk it off.
There you go. But see now there's fiber on there.
Yeah, cotton.
So I mean,
it's just a never-ending.
It really is. You got to be really careful. And just when you think you've got it all figured out, and you pour a block, and when you're looking at it as it starts to cure, which takes literally about 16 hours, 18 hours, you say, oh no, there's something floating in there. So I'll get a sharp pointer and dig around and try to get that out, but then that makes air bubbles. It's like, oh, come on. So
you're a perfectionist.
I'm a perfectionist, but as soon as I post a video that's got hair in the block, somebody says, what's going on with the block? It's got hair in it.
It's Bigfoot DNA.
But that's the hazard. I mean, the beauty of it is you get some tremendous visuals, and you see things in this that you don't see in the sim test, which are educational and kind of fun and all that. But the other side of it is there's an awful lot of work. There you go. That goes into that.
That's what I was
block.
trying to do long ago. Get the.
Yeah, that'll be a nice visual for old Charlie's. You're signed through a block of clear ballistics.
Here, let me see if I can get over there.
We could just put this on a post and rotate it out here in the parking lot.
It's amazing.
I'm sure there's a joke there. But anyway, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I can't wait to get mine, but it'll probably be the same as the other. I'll do it a couple of times and then I'll get...
There's one difference. The stuff that you have, the sim test, is beyond gross.
Yeah.
It's beyond gross. You've let it get gross.
It's my fault.
And it has all kinds of...
because I didn't educate myself well enough.
It has all kinds of fungus and growth and parasites, and you'll probably have maggots on it. I mean,
probably have to call in the hazardous chemical crew before I...
That stuff was borderline nasty when I brought it to you. It was borderline. I mean, I was going to throw it away, and you said you wanted it. It's like, okay.
I'm going to rehabilitate it.
This, since it's all synthetic, when it's melting, when you're melting the sim test, when I'm melting the sim test in the kitchen, I try to do it when no one's home, but that's not always possible because the family will complain about the odor of the sim test melting. And when I pour it in the block and the steam comes off, and you got this sim test steam that's kind of floating across the room, it's bad.
Yeah, it almost gets melancholy.
This smells like someone's burning tires in the kitchen.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh, my wife's going to kill me.
Yeah, so we got some of that, and getting into the holidays, I'm going to have, I hope, more time to spend with this. But yeah, it takes 4 hours to melt it after you shoot it, and that's when you chop it up into little pieces. And then once you pour it, it takes 4 hours to cure as it cools down and get the air bubbles out. And then you hope all the air bubbles come out because somebody will say, hey, it's got air bubbles in it. And then after that, about 16 to 24 hours later, it's ready, which is the nice thing. It cures at a faster rate than does the sim test. But there's probably 5 to 6 times more work at getting it to that point.
Wow.
So now you know what you're up against.
That's cool.
So.
Say something stoic.
Stoic? Is this going on the channel?
Yeah. Unless you don't want it to.
This is going to be up to you. Bob Costas is a
I agree. That's a good one.